What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. It feels good to say that and to be back. I wanted to do a video on Dune Day 1 to preserve it because that's part of what the channel is, being able to go back on certain days and look through market history. But I also want to do a little bit of catch up, so fast forward a couple minutes if you don't care about my personal life, that sort of stuff. First off, around my birthday, the day before, I cut my finger and sliced it open to where it wouldn't stop bleeding. I got it out of a splint just a couple days ago, and hopefully I'll stop bandaging it here soon overall. But I got my just desserts. I was trying to get into my birthday cake a day early. I was getting chocolate off of a brand new knife, and that's kind of stupid on my part overall. A little bit greedy, huh? Minus $500. Actually, it's $750, so medical care in America, ER night visit, it was up there in price. Second off, on a more serious topic, it is looking pretty bad for a fellow family member. That's why I've been gone, and the scans aren't looking great. Things overall aren't looking good. I try to talk through this a lot and have problems doing so, so bear with me. When it comes down to that, I really want to thank y'all, because stuff like the code usage and not relying on ad revenue allows me extra time to be there for my wife, be there with her, and do that kind of stuff, and I wouldn't be able to do that without y'all, so thank you so much. But when it comes down to it, I'm going to prioritize family, and that where and when I can. So thank you so much for that, and that being said, let's go ahead and get into today's Market Watch, starting with Dune Day 1. And things are going kind of funny sideways on certain cards, and other cards I have a lot to say about. When it comes to Magicians of Bond and Unity, do remember this is going to be reprinted in future sets, but with a different color scheme. This is the first one. Green's a very nice look, but I was seeing in Facebook groups, oh, this is at 500 online. I know what I got. I don't want to get ripped off. I want 425. I want 450. And some people were buying at that price. Unfortunately, if you went with pre-sales, it was around 250-ish max between Tier 0 and Gamer's Choice. It is looking to land above there currently, and you gotta remember this will be in like 1 out of 8-ish cases, 8.33 repeating, so it's not going to be the most uncommon, but it's not going to be the most common, but there's going to be future competition from itself, but also perhaps people collecting the whole line will actually bolster that. We'll have to wait and see how that actually affects the card, but 10k Dragon, when printing it is not. However, for the specific color and set, it will be. So that'll be interesting if it will kind of eat from itself. But right now, it is cooling off pretty rapidly. What is spiking very hard is Revolution Synchron, and we'll come back to quarter centuries in a bit. I want to go over these sales rates with you, because I haven't seen anything like this on a day one in, I want to say, years now. If you click on here, it's going to be for sales rates today. 1, 2, 3, 4 clicks, and we're down. You know, it's going back up in price. This was this morning. I saw it around 55. You know, we're still going. It's still today, and finally we hit yesterday's marking, and it was around $46, $47 in the morning. So this has spiked back up to 60 through the day. People were arguing if this would be a $45 card, which it was starting to look like one, or a $60 card, where it currently is through day one. So prices are still going to change throughout the day. It's only at 34 listings, and people are eating it up like crazy. However, thanks to quarter century rares and this, the rest of the set is relatively cheap for what it is. And I do want to say, I feel like a lot of the quarter century rares are mad overpriced right now. I would hold off on certain ones while thinking about getting others, and that's a tough place to be in because every ultra and secret is one, so there's a lot of playability aspects to these. But when we go over and look at Battles of Legend, which are hand-picked, handcrafted, really good throughout the ages, or collectible cards, like, they're not doing the lifting that these cards currently are in price. It's a lot of people panicking, thinking they're mad geniuses, that kind of stuff, when you have, you know, Foxy Tune isn't picking up, you know, it's around $50, although only 21 listings, then these keep getting bought out to a degree. But we're talking every ultra and secret, so there's going to be bum ones in my opinion, and there's bum ones over here that are under, you know, $30, much like collector rares, because collector rares are 4 per case. These are 3 per case when we're talking 25th, and I think you'll start to see a lot of these even out at, you know, the 40s, the 30s. So I wouldn't necessarily go crazy today, but stuff like Cosmic Quasar has gone up through the day. I think it was 80 something earlier, and people are grabbing every which one. That would be great for product if this could lightning bolt, take a lot of the value, and everything else was cheap for most of the sets, and then it's super bonus whenever, you know, other sets come out that have really, really good cards. Like, I hear a lot of people are excited for Age of Overlord in a big way. Jeff Jones is talking about how good it is. A lot of people are talking about going in on it. But when it comes to this set, overall, people were perceiving it as a flop up till now, and the quarter century rares are overperforming day one, in my opinion. We'll have to wait to see how that turns out, but ones like Hida, I think, will age well in its collectible line, while other ones I think will fall out, yet everything's lifting as of right now, so we'll have to wait and see. Again, that's my take. Let me know what you think. Do you think everything can be worth money in that slot and it lightning bolts the rest of the set? Because cards like Crimson Dragon being only 15 is mind-blowing to me. I would think this would be a $25, $30 card, and here it is, not doing too hot. Dark Corridor at 10, maybe it's that Gravekeeper-like card in my mentality where I thought it would be worth more than it would be, but it's also down. And we're talking every other secret, you know, under $10, every Ultra under $10, Expurely Noir going under $5. It's awesome for the players. It's a lot more like OCG product if it can maintain this, but I don't think necessarily the quarter century rares are going to continue this lifting. Again, personally, that's my take on it. We'll have to wait and see how that ages, though. Battles has shown that there are a lot of buyouts in the quarter century rare range, and people are willing to let that be the lifting of a product. So I do hope it goes that way. But for a core set, I just don't have a great feeling. Now, other things that are getting bought out, thanks to Dune Day 1. Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon's been going up, especially on the top end. The Ghost Rare has been spiking as well. So hard to get this in True Near Mint. A lot of people want to buy this in person instead of going online for it. So that is something to consider with this card, and why online sales might actually be slower than the representation of the card. But when it comes down to the others, they are mad down in quantity, way up in price, and this used to be a $60 staple. What it's getting used for is basically shenanigans with Rev Synchron. Apparently, you also have Mana Diem apparently is playing. I'm not up to date on the metagame. Like I said, I've been out a little bit for understandable reasons. Crimson Dragon apparently and Mana Diem able to do things as well with the synchro stuff. And then Bish Balkan has mega spiked due to the set, you know, much to coders' chagrin, and it is going up here, and people are playing it on top of synchro stuff. Fusion Armament apparently has some unique plays. I also love the art with Flame Swordsman. It's one of those quarter century rares that I think could do well, and people are talking about the combo with basically using Zen Meister, which is why the ultimate rare is up with Naturia Beast? I would never count Naturia Beast out of a metagame, but basically what's happening is they're cheating Naturia Beast out of the extra deck. They're then hard making Zen Meister to flip it down, and then it flips itself back up in the end phase with its effect. And so, yeah, you can just free summon that beast and turn it back on. That's what's happening with these cards. Luckily, if you are interested in this play or play line, it's extremely cheap if you want to go low rarity, thanks to Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1 and being able to go for any lower rarity of this, but be aware the max rarity for all this stuff is pretty up there right now. Mana Diem was getting a lot of hype. I know Pac was talking about it going into this metagame, and it seems like stuff like Riem Heart is respiking here as we approach this metagame, and Peaceful Planet, while it's down versus a couple weeks ago, is still mad up versus where it was doing its lifting, especially heading out of the WCQ season. It gets a huge update out of Dune. It's looking like a top contender, and if a banlist helps clear the way, especially for, you know, after Mega 10s and we get into the competitive season, people start sounding like those seagulls. Mine, except banlist, which happens a ton in the community. Well, I do think we're going to probably see this deck overperform after a list, most likely. Arthurgis, the OG Xyz here, it is mad up in price as well. I hear this is Pac Tax. Pac, what are you doing? But no, jokes aside, Arthurgis here only has its old printings, and they're even eating up the Platinum Rare at this point, so there's maybe a little something behind that. Be aware, if you're wanting this card, you got the new Noble Knight cards. Renaud also is played in more than just Noble Knights at this point, but has also been up for the collector rare a bit. Interesting stuff. Rescue Ace Hydrant. I know we've already covered this one a lot, but it is up in price a lot for the ultra rare, while the collector rare has cooled off versus its initial spikes. You know, it's more realistic price. The fact that the top end max rarity from a collector rare perspective is only double the price, usually you see triple to quad. That's interesting and tells me people just want a copy to play and are also thinking about, will this pan out like the OCG? Is it going to do what the OCG did? We're at that cusp of, it's either probably going to spike a lot for the collector rare, or it's going to just level out and people are going to chill on it and this will come back down. But people are throwing a lot of money at this hydrant right now, so be aware of that. It is up through like quadruple, quintuple buyouts, like some kind of anime. Chaos Angel here is going through the off season. I want to cover a couple of the top cards that we talked about going into the off season that I felt like were solid. So you see, versus its max price, it's only a couple of bucks down, and it's really chugging through. People are pretty confident. Regionals back here very soon, in August at least in North America. I saw a Twitter post for EU saying September, so let me know from the EU perspective, when do they start for you? I should have looked that up. But also, Triple Tactics Thrust got an ultimate rare. People were quoting, this will bring the price down like $10 whole. Now, not even. It's chugged through the off season for the most part. Only 24 copies here, and people are eating it back up into the 80s. You can see immediately into the offseason, people were offloading as they typically do. They sell their decks. I was saying you might find a time to be able to get it at a good price, and then whoop, maybe this was also a couple people naively thinking an ultimate rare out of an OTS pack would do something for this. But yep, here's the secret rare. I honestly don't like the ultis look overall. I've seen a lot of issues in the OTS where the imprinting is not there on the ultimate rares, and it happens to the purely 2. Pack got one that's half and half, so that's interesting. But do be aware, yeah, these staples, they've been chugging through the offseason, and we're about to exit the offseason very early, so yeah, it's gonna be a wild ride for the market. Again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. I know my upload schedule is going to be effed for a little bit, but that is life at some terms, and that's what I'm going through right now. So I really do appreciate y'all being here, y'all continuing to use my code, and that kind of stuff really allows me that, and thank you so much. I don't have words to express for it. Thank you.